Oh, that is the biggest swear word. It's so full of judgment. Oh, I hate that word. As soon as you should on somebody, you tell somebody, oh, you should do this, or maybe you should downsize, or maybe you should. It's laced with judgment, and it puts you in a different position from somebody else, and it doesn't really allow them to fully explore what it is they need to do. So instead, if you do have something that you want to share with somebody financially, what might work is if you say, here's what worked in my experience, and you share from that perspective. That also will really help you learn and grow.
I think when you were upstairs, I hope you told mom that. No more should. Like Joe and OG should get out of my basement. Do not shoot on us.
That's right.
Please. No, we belong here.
From Joe's mom's basement, it's the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and I think most of us don't tell the people who are on our air quote board of directors that they're on our board. Joe, I know I'm pretty much the chairman of your board, but you've never once told me that I'm on your board of directors.
You have any words, coach, for the team?
Rah, rah, ree. Kick him in the knee. Rah, rah, ras. Kick him in the other knee.
Wow, he has never coached a team in his life.
Go out there and bite him in the kneecaps.
We just got to go out there and play our game, and stick to the fundamentals and just do what we do best. Just focus.
If we score more touchdowns than the other team, we will win, kids. We will win. Let's talk about how we're misusing credit in America.
First of all, people think credit is money. Start there. It's not. The most dangerous thing in my wallet today, Joe, is my American Express Black Card. Because this thing here, and it's sexy, and it looks nice, and it's pretty, there's no limit on it. But that's not even a credit card. This is a charge card, which means in 30 days, I got to pay the whole balance. A lot of people get in trouble. You start seeing celebrities in their bankruptcies and people who won the lottery or whatever. You see this credit card stuff because they thought this was an extension of their wallet. It's not meant to be an extension on your annual compensation.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to what is my favorite training session of the year that we're going to be talking about tonight, which is our Stack Success sessions. We did these last year for the first time. It was incredible. It was an amazing 10 weeks. I hope you go on this journey with me because we're really going to help you learn your financial plan. And I want to start off, I guess, by talking specifically about who this training is for, because I think that's really important. But before we do that, if you've got questions, this time is also for you. We're going to do some Q&A along the way. So if you've got questions for me, please leave those because I'm happy to take whatever questions you might have. It's a great way here to end my day. It's the last thing I'm going to do today before I call it a night. And I'm super, super happy to do this because I just can't tell you how everybody that went through the training last time was impacted. Let me give you the actual numbers. The average person said on a scale of 1 to 10 before doing this, they were a 4.5. Now, some people were already 6, some people were 7. I think one person was an 8. But the average person was a 4.5 on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of knowing your money, having a strategy that actually worked, understanding how pulling this lever affected this stuff over here, making everything dovetail. Average person 4.5. When we were done, the average person was an 8.8. That's how effective this training is. That's how much it's going to change things for you. 10 weeks, 90 minutes each session. We have just some great stuff packed in here, and I'm super happy to share it. So we're going to talk about exactly what it is tonight, but really, as I mentioned earlier, how do you know this is for you? Well, let me tell you, there's lots of different pains that we are trying to really solve for. And the first one is this pain of not knowing if my plan is working, if my plan's not working, not knowing if I'm going in the right direction or not knowing if this investment really is what it should be, not knowing when I hear about a pitch for an insurance policy, if I read about crypto, whatever it is, this pain of not knowing. And it's a real pain. And I've been there. I remember all the jargon people would use before I knew about money. I remember all of the, I remember thinking it was like a different language, right? The people were talking. And believe it or not, it's easier for us to cut through that than you would think. But that's just the beginning. Once we cut through all of that jargon, then that opens up this whole world. And then there's the freak out factor of, oh my goodness, now I'm not worried about the jargon. I'm worried that there's so much to understand. And the answer is yes, there is. But we can give that to you in 10 sessions, 10 success sessions, 90 minutes each session, so that you're completely armed with this rubric of how to understand what that is. What this pain leads to, by the way, the pain of not knowing, without this training, it leads to chasing people. And I see people do this online all the time. In fact, one piece of the training that we're going to cover is the Efficient Frontier training. If you've already been through my Efficient Frontier training, you're going to get a lot more out of it when we do this in the success sessions, because you're going to understand exactly why and where this fits. And frankly, I don't have the time, the energy, the inclination to do that in the free session, because it is long and it is comprehensive. There's a reason behind it. There's a reason why you pick a specific spot in the Efficient Frontier. So we dive far more into that training. If you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, you don't even know Efficient Frontier, see, there's another thing that we're going to explain along the way. But what I found during this is I've led people down this path of understanding the Efficient Frontier. And I've seen people go, well, I'm just going to follow Paul Merriman. I'm just going to follow Rick Ferry. I'm just going to follow this. Pick a person. When you start following cult of personality, instead of understanding exactly what you're doing, you know what happens? The second that strategy goes bad, and every single strategy goes, there is no strategy that's a magic bullet. When it goes bad, when the market turns against it, when you don't understand it, you're going to jump off. And when you jump off, it's usually at the wrong time. And it's because you don't understand what you're doing. You're just attached to, well, you know what? I'm going to do this the quick way. Well, quick for me is understanding over 10 sessions in less than 3 months. Imagine by the time your taxes are due, we're going to know how to do your financial plan. Now, to some people, that feels like a long time, right? 10 weeks. Can I really do this over 10 weeks? Think 10 weeks ago was Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving feels like it was yesterday. If I would have told you at Thanksgiving before January was up that you knew how your financial plan worked, how powerful would you be right now? That's what we're going for. So we don't want to follow people. We want to follow process. We don't understand why a guy like Paul Merriman has his different portfolios. I understand why. I try to explain why. People try to shorthand it and tell me, you know what? I don't know that the juice is worth the squeeze. If you understand what you're doing, then you'll get what all the pitfalls are. Second, you'll find yourself looking for a secret answer then. I've noticed when I look at our podcast episodes, there's a certain piece of every audience that is looking for a magic bullet. And those topics that we cover, especially when I get into investing topics on the show, when we cover investing topics, those get more listenership. You know why? Because there's people looking for the magic bullet. Now, our normal listener will listen to that and listen to all the other stuff that we do. But the reason the numbers go up, and I've been doing this long enough to know, there are people just looking for something for nothing. And the sad thing is that doesn't exist. And the third thing is many of the shorthand comments that I see in online forums, like this insurance is a ripoff. I'll tell you right now, different insurance types cannot be a ripoff. Companies have a very difficult time ripping you off. Insurance agents, they can rip you off. But insurance companies, very, very difficult for them to do that. Why is that? There's a host of reasons why, and you learn all of that. And that is why being a little more comprehensive, taking 10 weeks, 90 minutes each week to get that full, deeper success than just the surface level. Yeah, I don't need to know it. Success pays huge dividends. There's also the pain of having a plan that doesn't dovetail. You've got your insurance over here. You got investments over here. You got your emergency fund over here. You know what's funny? All three of those things affect each other. And because they affect each other, you will make better decisions when you have a plan that dovetails than if you don't. That's the pain that we're trying to solve. Pain of having advisors that handle just a portion of what you're doing and they try to give you advice, but because everything doesn't dovetail, you end up buying the wrong type of insurance, wrong amount, wrong type, wrong investment, wrong reason, wrong methodology picking it. All of this stuff dovetails. Choosing your financial goals, talking about how one financial goal impacts another is a big piece. So our goal is to solve all of that. So I'm going to attempt now to switch into some slides. Let's see if we've got any quick questions here at the top. Not seeing any yet. So let's dive in. I'm going to see if I can pull up these slides screen. Let's see what we've got. Can I get to the I am brand new, not at this platform, but I am brand new at sharing my screen on this platform. I did it once for the Efficient Frontier training, but that was it. Here we go. Share. And let's present. Ooh, look at that. Yes. All right. This, let me make sure that we've, that everybody can see that. The video is a little bit behind. Okay. All right. I should have asked you guys if you could see it. All right, here we go. So we're going to build a financial plan in less than 3 months. And here is how that works. We're going to spend most of our time together, the time when you need me most, on the high impact, biggest ROI stuff that I can teach you. There's going to be homework ahead of time. Yes, there will be, because you need to know the foundation of why we're talking about this stuff. And in areas that you want to dig in even greater detail, we're going to have optional limbs that you can go down if you choose to facilitate that. There is a Facebook group. You can also ask people in the group their understanding of it. I love some of the discussions that we had, by the way, in the Facebook group. The first year we did this, which was last year. Very, very cool group. You could also ask me though, during those sessions. I'm there all week with you. And then for 90 minutes each week, then on the training. But on that training, we get to the heart of timelining your goals. It is so funny. Our first group, and I'm going to walk down through these. Our first group really, at first, I could tell was kind of like most people when I talk about timelining goals, like, oh, that's nice. Oh, that's neat. And when I kept coming back to it, we talked about building your dashboard, tackling debt, evaluating your investment options, building the portfolio, designing your risk management. It all went back to timelining your goals. Every single one of these went back to timelining your goals. You saw how powerful this was. And it was great to see, not just in these individual sessions, but in that big top, just the light bulb come on and people go, oh, I get it. And you know what? When you get it, then your plan gets sticky, you follow it, and you get excited about building it. You build a more robust plan. It's so kick-ass. It's absolutely fantastic. So we begin there because that's a place you begin. From there, we need to know along the way how to track our progress. Listen, some of the things that you're going to be building are really big, really, really big goals that you have. I see people lower their goals because of the fact that they seem so unattainable. Yet when we build these dashboards and milestones built in, we're able to much more effectively get where we want to go. Now, the cool thing is there's a bunch of different dashboards out there. And by dashboards, I mean, Monarch Money sponsors our show. That's a dashboard. Cube Money works for some people. There are 6 or 7 different dashboards that I really like, but I like them different depending on your goals, depending on your timeline, and depending on how you think you're going to manage your money. Most of the consternation I see that people have online with the tools is that they're using a hammer when they need a screwdriver, or vice versa, right? They're using a tool that's not built for the job that they're trying to accomplish. And so when I see people go, oh, I can't stand Tiller money because of XYZ. Well, of course you don't like it because Tiller's not designed to do that. So we're going to build a dashboard that works. And by the end of week 2, you would have your goal, the time frame, the rate of return you need, and the dashboard to help you reach it. So by week number 2, you're already set up to go get these goals in a way that makes a ton of sense. We then go into the budget. I don't have the budget down here, but we talk about how to budget like a pro and mistakes people make when budgeting. We also dig through your budget and we find money that you didn't know that you had. That is our goal. And we find money that you can apply toward your goals that you didn't think that you could. That's another thing that we do. And by the way, it isn't going to be, you listen to a podcast episode of ours and you hear about it. You are going to actually do it. And you're going to do it either in the meeting, just before the meeting, or after the meeting. And your accountability team, that is everybody going through this with you, is holding you accountable. And I'll tell you, it feels really, really, really good. Now, another piece of this, by the way, when we're talking about the budget, we also go through income, increasing your income stream. This is an area of money management I think is super important, and people forget. It actually is the highest opportunity. It also brings you the most joy for a lot of people, finding ways to increase the amount of money that you bring in, especially if you can do it without expanding what I call the time box, the amount of time you spend on it. If you can increase your income, it makes everything everything about this go much easier. We had 2 people in our last session who actually got raises, and one who owns a business who figured out ways to make more money without feeling bad about it, feeling like, okay, I'm ripping people off, and also feeling like she's actually being paid now what she's worth, which was very, very exciting. But from there, if you have debt where you learn how to tackle debt like a CFO, we spend about half of a class on that. Next, a lot of people invest in just a few things. One of my favorite dichotomies, and by favorite, I mean one that really drives me crazy, is when people go, well, I'm just going to use real estate. I'm not going to use the stock market, or I'm just going to use stock market. I'm not going to use real estate, or I'm just going to use this. I'm not going to use that, because it's the one thing they understand. It might not be the right thing for their goal, but it's what they decide to do rather than expand their knowledge. Starting with, by the way, what are the right investments for that goal that you timeline, and then working backward into it. A well-meaning woman for the Afford Anything show wrote in recently and said, I really want to own real estate because you own real estate, Paula. Because Paula owns real estate is not a reason for you to own real estate. Real estate's a fantastic investment. My son owns a bunch of real estate. I've owned real estate in the past. I have real estate in my portfolio now in terms of a REIT. Real estate's a great investment, but you don't own it because somebody else owns it. You own it because it's the best thing for your goal. But we'll talk about the different investment options that are out there and expand your understanding and how to evaluate the ones that are good and the ones that are bad. And what is interesting is when I say good and bad, what you might be thinking right now is good and bad equals investments that suck for everybody or don't suck for everybody. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit, but you know what's even bigger? A goal that is horrible for your goal, and a goal that's, an investment that is horrible for your goal, and an investment that's the right one for your goal. That's where the rubber meets the road, because all of a sudden it becomes okay for you to go when somebody tells you about some investment option. It becomes okay to go, yeah, sounds like a great investment, not for me. And you know why? It doesn't fit what you're trying to do. And I find often that people end up investing in the wrong things because of the fact that they don't have that rubric of working on their goal. Next, then building in a new portfolio. This expands the Efficient Frontier training that I've done for free in other places. You might have done that training before. We dive into this so much more. And in fact, last year's group said that the training on how to build that Efficient Frontier directly into your plan was their number one favorite piece of this. Designing a risk management plan. I use the words risk management on purpose because the insurance industry wants you to think about buying insurance. We don't want to think about buying insurance. We want to think about managing our risk, and then a tax strategy that works. Now, what's funny is I've had people tell me, I just want to, my goal is to cut my taxes on my investments. And back when I was an advisor, people would come to me specifically to cut taxes on their investments. You know what I found out? Their investment strategy stunk so much that we were actually able to increase returns and leave the friction the same on their investments for a greater outcome. That is why reducing friction by cutting taxes is under everything else here, because we don't want the tax tail to wag the investing dog. In other words, my goal is to have Bill Gates' tax bill, to have Jeff Bezos's tax bill. That's my goal. Because if I have their tax bill, then I have their investments, and they have a huge tax bill, right? I don't want to cut my taxes. I want to improve my ability to get those goals. Creating a durable estate plan if there's money that you can't spend, and then hiring better help. We had a bunch of people. I was surprised by the number of people that were on this in our group last year that had help, They just wanted to be able to monitor their health better. They wanted to know exactly what it was that their advisors were doing, their advisors were talking about. And you know what? If the advisor could, the advisor would spend 10, 90-minute sessions with you to go over that. They don't have that kind of time. You don't want to just take their word for it, though. If you're going to hire help, you want to make sure that the help is the type that's really going to help your situation. And frankly, you're going to hire better help because you understand all the things I have above here and the topics that we're going to cover that aren't on here. A few of them that I went over, like your budget and increasing your income. But hiring better help is a big piece of the plan. Finally, then we put it all together and you have your financial plan. And before tax day is over, you understand all the dovetailing that goes into your plan. And you have either a dovetail plan, or in some cases, you were well on your way there. You knew what holes you needed to fill in. I want to go over some of the reviews that we got from the last session. So the last time we did this was the first time that we did this. Those people in a lot of ways helped us get where we are here. It was so successful. However, it's going to be even better this year by a lot because we all learned a lot. We spent too much time on debt, frankly. We didn't spend enough time on the investment side of the training. We didn't spend quite enough time on the budget and cash flow. And we spent maybe too much time in the estate plan area. So this year you're getting a tweak, but these are from the untweaked version of this. So Chris said, my brother actually suggested taking what we called the book club. Now we call the success sessions. I still can't thank him enough. It made me more confident in investing, taught me how to lower my risk to get a better outcome with my investments. Bam. Now this is for Chris in particular. I want you to see that as you go through these, lowering your risk was important to Chris. It wasn't important to everybody. Other people didn't really care about lowering their risk as much as getting more from their investments. Frankly, I'm going to show you how to increase your risk and when it makes sense to increase your risk. But for everybody, you've got the thing that made sense to you. And that's the point here. Instead of the magic bullet, you're going to know how to get the things that are important to you in your financial plan. I also learned the importance of setting goals for myself and how to set up a plan to meet them. The group environment was also helpful. We gained knowledge from other people's perspective and past experiences. And I can't say enough about Joe, his knowledge, humor, and willingness to stay after class. Just a few of the reasons I found this class invaluable. We say 90 minutes. Listen, if you're there to learn, I am there to teach. I love, as you can tell, hopefully from my energy tonight, telling you how cool this is. I get so much energy from the group. Jen was skeptical, and oh my goodness, what Jen got out of this class. I love Jen's input. I was skeptical this class would be helpful for me or not, but decided to give it a try. It turned out to be a great decision. I've improved my budgeting skills, my mindset, but the best part was the part on investing. I think the changes I made will really be helpful down the road as I'm better diversified and have lowered my fees too, ready for whatever financial storms headed my way. This class is not free, and we'll get to that. And it's not inexpensive. But what you see is by spending your money in the right place, you're able then to lower your fees to make this well worth it within an incredibly short amount of time. I think, in fact, by the end of week 2, you've got your money back, and the last 8 weeks are gravy. Stacy, we've looked at different aspects of our finances for a long time, but never took a comprehensive view of things and made sure we had all our bases covered. Walking through this hysterically funny and informative book with the author himself was incredibly meaningful. By the way, I didn't mention this, but what you get from Stacy, and I just turned this way because I thought, oh, I did have it down here. We use my book as the textbook, and it's because it was made to be a textbook. So Stacked was made to be a textbook, beginning with the easy stuff and getting deep in the weeds. In fact, one of the few reviews of this book, obviously my favorite review was when CNN called this the number one book you needed to read in the year that it came out, 1993. Did I almost say that? 2023. This was the number one book in personal finance that you need to read. But there was this one reviewer that clearly only read the first two 2 chapters that said, there's nothing here that you haven't seen before. It's because we start off with the easy stuff. In fact, I told you in the intro, so apparently they missed the intro. But this is a guide about how to complete your financial plan. At the end of every chapter, it's actually an achievement. So we go get the badges for each of the achievements by making sure we can cross off all the things at the end of each of these chapters that you need to do to prove that you have your financial plan. But the lessons were for us individually. We got coached directly and we had a support group to cheer us on being part of this. What was called the book club, now is called the success sessions, was the best way to make positive and lasting changes in our financial position and outlook. Can't recommend enough. Thanks to Stacy. Those are a few. There's some more perks to the group. By the way, you heard them mention the Facebook group. I can't mention the fact that you're with a group of like-minded people going through this together. These people still chat from time to time today in that group. And in fact, when you arrive, they are in that group too, and they will help coach you through some of the problems that they had last year and how they got through it. So not only do you get the group now, you get it when future cohorts come through. Second, you may know that we have an HR guide now. Our group was so surprised. We didn't tell the group last year. We're telling you that this year, any guides that we come out with, when we plan on 5, you're going to get them all for free. Whatever we make, if it is a product, you get it for free. We have a DIY course coming up. I don't think you're going to need that as much because you're going to have access to all of these videos again from the direct coaching and the Facebook group whenever we do the Facebook group. So you're going to have this support system that's going to last forever. And that is the future cohorts. So those are the some of the perks. I want to stop right here because let's see if we got questions. I saw something that said questions. Again, this part of the where are my questions at? Isn't this thrilling? Just watching Joe try to navigate the buttons. I'm just going to go right to YouTube. Ha! Tracy's here. Tracy from the Divorce Money Guy. Can I just follow Dave Ramsey's method? Yes, you can. You can follow anybody's. Just follow their method, and then you're going to get exactly that. You're not going to understand exactly why it works for you and why it doesn't work for you. And actually, Tracy, I know that you're kidding, but there is a piece of this I think that's really important, which is the fact that your for me, when it came to getting out of debt, I needed a different way of doing that than Dave Ramsey recommends. Dave Ramsey recommends an all cash lifestyle. For me, if I have any cash on me, I will spend it. You know why? Because it's not accountable. And I found that for me, having accountability partners is absolutely 100% the way to get this done the right way. So I found that for me to get out of debt, having no cash ever was the best part of this training. Okay, let's talk about this. Alex Hormozi at the beginning of the year talked about investing in the SME versus the S&P, about giving yourself the training that it's going to take and the access to the people that can deliver that training to be able to affect your life in big ways, right? Investing in a curriculum that pays. I believe this curriculum pays huge dividends over and above what we charge for it. If you wanted to hire somebody to do it for you, you're going to pay about $5,000 a year. Now, you're not going to see that from the online groups. You're going to see, oh, it's $500 an hour. And then when you go to the meeting, you find out that it takes 10 hours. And by the way, you may or may not understand what they did during those 10 hours that they spent working on your financial plan. I don't know. My issue has always been when I meet with people for my one-on-one sessions, the big thing I always get is, I don't understand I love my advisor. I don't understand the basics of what they're telling me. And sometimes I think it's not basic. Sometimes I think I need to really know how this works. And I don't. So for 1 or 2 seats, this is a $3,000 investment in the S&Me, in making sure that you have the knowledge that you need over these next 3 months and beyond. You're going to recoup some of that in our guides that you have lifetime access for. That takes off excuse me, they're $80 each. I don't know how to, I don't know how to do math, apparently. So, that takes off 400 oh my goodness, Joe, that takes off, $400, right? $80 times 5 guides. Thank you. Holy cow. I can tell it's the end of the evening. So that takes off $400. I'm not that worried about that. I just love giving people those because you invested in the thing that we think is going to give you the biggest oomph. So anything I can add to it is great. We believe that DIY course, I don't think you're going to want that, but you will have lifetime access to that. That's going to be downstream from this. Frankly, I believe that this training and the guides are the 2 things that you really want. And both of them give you lifetime access. We continue making it. You continue to get it. Now, let's be clear. You will not get to go through the 10 sessions again, but you will have those videos. You'll have the group again next year. You can go back through it on a DIY. Anything that we make, any product that we make is 100% yours. That still isn't where the ROI is. It's a huge ROI when you see an opportunity for more money and you know how to address it. When you see an opportunity in your budget and you know how to lock it down and make it work for you. When somebody is trying to sell you insurance and you know whether you actually need that or not, you know what questions to ask. And what's funny is when you ask questions, you will ask 3 or 4 questions. It was hilarious. One of the members of our group last year, she was asking her insurance agent questions, and 4 questions in, the insurance agent was sure that she was getting rid of him, that she was firing him. And she wasn't. She just wanted to know because nobody asked these questions. And then he got excited when he found out that she actually wanted to know and spent even more time with her. And people, financial professionals, will respond to you asking those questions. They will perform better. You'll get money out of that. You'll understand why your emergency fund, even though it pays a horrible interest rate, is the right place to have money. There's an ROI there. Certainly, you're learning on the efficient frontier and how to lock in gains that will last a lifetime for you is a huge win. Huge win. Having the right estate plan, using the correct dashboard. I can go on and on and on. But I think that $3,000 you get back very, very quickly. So how do you get in? Either go to stackingbenjamins.com/series or use that QR code. That's the way forward. We are going to be starting with an orientation session. That is not something that you have to attend here in a couple of weeks, but we're going to be starting right after that in about 3 weeks. So you've got a couple of weeks to get ready. We also have some surprises for people that join the group. So we begin you on your journey immediately. And then a couple of weeks from now, we're rocking. So I'm looking forward to working with you. We have 15 slots available. I didn't mention one thing, by the way. You know what? I forgot to mention the fact that you get 2 seats. Let me go back. If you want, some people took advantage of this, some people didn't. If you want an accountability buddy to go through this with you, if you want a spouse to go through it with you or somebody you're in a relationship with, we had people, I had a guy invite his brother. I had a guy, there was a woman who invited a coworker. And you know what? You get 2 seats. So if you want to share that price with somebody of $3,000, feel free to split that however you would like. If you need our help doing that, by the way, we're happy to do that. I also forgot to mention, if you've already bought the HR guide, we're going to refund you the $80. We're going to take $80 off of this price, by refunding you that $80. All right. So just let us know that you already bought the HR guide as well. And we're going to make sure of that, of everybody that that is a part of it, because all that now becomes a piece of your success series. So anyway, let me see if we have any other questions. Corey says, is this for any level of saver or any stage of work years? Corey, great question. First of all, is that yes, we had people that were fairly new to money and just starting out, to people that were staring retirement in the face. So our youngest person last time, I believe, was 27 or 28. We had two people, one woman from Chicago and a gentleman from Wisconsin. And both of them were early in their career. They got the most out of setting up that budget, setting up the dashboard correctly, getting the tax strategy in place, understanding what the insurances were, and then actually the efficient frontier stuff they knew for later. For those two people, you saw that for the people that we that I shared the testimonials. I shared testimonials about people that were really interested in looking at that at the efficient frontier. Those people had other priorities. Those were actually some of our people that were the lowest, felt like they had the least knowledge, and then went to the most knowledge. We had this wonderful couple from Alaska that hadn't saved a ton of money and reported back later that they saved a bunch more money, which was super exciting. Lindsay, I read that two people could join for the price of one. Is that correct? Yes. Just went through that. Two people can join. You have an accountability buddy. We're going to hold you to that. That person's there to hold you accountable and for you to hold them accountable. So we have some homework that involves you and your accountability buddy. So yes, bring them along. I had some people that brought their spouse along. As I mentioned, some people brought their brother, their sister along. You get two people for that price. The reason that we did that was because initially I didn't want to charge a married couple or people in a committed relationship. And I believe they both need to understand their money. And if I let two people in a committed relationship in together, then for single people that don't get both of those seats, it didn't seem fair. So we decided you split that however you choose. I'm going to let two people come. If you're in a relationship, I think that having both of you come to that is come to these sessions is a great use of money. If you can't make a session, we have the video and you watch a video. The average person last time missed 2 of the 10. I understand that it's a haul to meet me live for 10 sessions. So people met me for on average 8, and then 2 sessions they watched the videos for and did it on their own time. Everybody at the end of the 90-minute sessions went away with stuff they had to get finished before the next session. They had homework to get ready for the next session, and they had follow-up from that session. It was actually really exciting to hear the success stories between the sessions. And my goal was to have you do right away, while the iron was hot, something that related specifically to the training that we just did. Because you know what? You're going to know it better if you use it right now. You're going to know it a lot better. That was my goal. So we tend to, I tended to make sure that you were able to lock that down between sessions. All right. Next question. If we have another one. Those are 2 great sessions. If you've got more questions, you know where to reach me, joe@stackingbenjamins.com. Use the QR code. Come join us. I've got 15 spots available. That means maximum there'll be 30 people. Let me tell you, we're not going to have 30 people. We are not. We don't have enough of a quote marketing machine for this thing for me to fill this up. We haven't talked about it enough for me to fill this up. And I think that's actually going to be great for you and great for me. If we have 5 people in this group, that's going to be awesome. Frankly, if we have 3 people in this group, that's going to be even more awesome. That's more time with you and me. Last time we had about 10, but now that we've tweaked it and we've increased the price, I understand that this is a bigger commitment than we asked people for a year ago. I also know the session is a lot better. And I also know that it's less expensive now than it will be in the future. I'm not about low price. I'm about making sure that it's incredibly, incredibly worth it. And it's worth it more if I do training that's for a very, very small group of people, because I can impact you better that way. And then I can make sure that it's worth it. So hope you decide that you're joining me. Can't wait to get this started. The QR code or stackingbenjamins.com/series. Have a good night, everybody. Oh, I do have another question here from Tina before we go. Will a session recordings be private? Yes. In other words, the session recordings are in the Facebook group. So I think that's what you mean, meaning it's not going to be live access on our YouTube page for everybody to get. I think that's what that question meant. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.